Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Over the past several weeks, we've explored the world of the Cartographer Saga and met some of the people who can call this world home. But today I want to step away from the world itself, because before there was Cayenne, before there were pirates, before there were kingdoms, there was a single question that refused to leave my mind. Can you trust a map? Imagine for a moment that it's the late 15th century. You're standing on the deck of a sailing ship. The shoreline behind you is disappearing into the horizon, and ahead lies an ocean that very few people will ever have crossed. In your cabin is the finest map your kingdom can provide. Every coastline has been carefully drawn. Every known port is labeled. Every trade route weaves across the sea with remarkable confidence. And then the map simply stops. Not because the world ends, because knowledge does. Beyond that edge are blank spaces. Not empty spaces. Just places no one has reached yet. To the people holding that map, those blank spaces represented mystery itself. When most people look at a map, they see facts. They see coastlines, mountains, rivers, borders. They see direction. They see certainty. I don't. I see choices. Because every map you've ever looked at was created by another person. Someone decided what deserved to be included. Someone decided what was important enough to draw. Someone chose the names. Someone drew the borders. Someone decided where the edge of the known world ended and where the unknown began. A map isn't just a picture of the world, it's someone's understanding of the world. And that's a very important difference. History gives us countless examples of this. For over a century, many European maps depicted California as an island. Explorers reported it incorrectly, influential cartographers copied one another, and before long, what began as a mistake became accepted truth. Generations of people believed something that simply wasn't there. There was also the idea of Terra Australis, a massive southern continent that many believed had to exist simply because it seemed logical. Cartographers drew it, scholars discussed it. It became part of how people imagined the world long before anyone knew what was actually there. Even the phrase, "here be dragons," while not nearly as common as pop culture would have us believe, it captured something deeply human. When we don't understand what's beyond the horizon, we fill the unknown with stories. Sea monsters, lost kingdoms, impossible creatures. Not because we know they're there, but because uncertainty is uncomfortable. Human beings have always preferred an answer over admitting we simply don't know. And that's something I find fascinating. Maps don't tell us where things are. They tell us what people believed. Then there's something even more interesting. Names. Every place you've ever visited has a name, but someone had to choose it. Mountains existed long before they were written on parchment. Rivers flowed for thousands of years before someone decided what to call them. Entire civilizations had names for their homes long before explorers from distant lands arrived and gave those same places new ones. The land hadn't changed, only the story being told about it. The same is true for borders. We often look at modern maps and imagine the world has always looked this way. It hasn't. Kingdoms rise, empires fall, borders move, cities disappear, new capitals emerge. Every map becomes a snapshot of a single moment in history frozen on paper. And if enough time passes, people begin believing that snapshot is how the world has always been. The more I thought about maps, the more I realized they reminded me of something else. History. History often feels permanent, objective, certain. But history is also created by people. People with beliefs, people with loyalties, people with incomplete information. Sometimes history celebrates heroes who weren't nearly as heroic as we imagine. Sometimes villains become legends. Sometimes entire cultures are reduced to a footnote because someone else won the war. We often hear the phrase, "history is written by the victors." While that isn't always literally true, there's an important idea hiding inside it. Perspective matters. Imagine if Napoleon had won. Imagine if the American Revolution had failed. Imagine if Rome had collapsed centuries earlier than it did. The events might be recognizable, but the heroes would be different. The villains would be different. The lessons would be different. The stories would be different. That realization fascinated me. Not because I wanted to write about maps, because I wanted to write about truth. Or perhaps more accurately, how difficult truth can be defined. That's when the foundation of the Cartographer saga finally came together. I didn't want to write a story that was simply about pirates searching for treasure. I wanted to write about discovery, not just discovering new lands, discovering forgotten truths. I kept asking myself questions. What if the map everyone trusted wasn't wrong, just incomplete? What if every nation genuinely believed its own version of history? What if no one was lying, but no one possessed the whole story either? Suddenly, everything started falling into place. The kingdoms, the explorers, the conflicts, the ruins, even the characters themselves. Every culture in Omnis believes it understands the world. Every nation believes its history is correct. Every map tells a story, but none of them tell the whole story. And maybe that's true of our own world too. The older I get, the more I realize certainty is easy. Curiosity is difficult. It's easy to believe we've already found the answer. It's much harder to admit there may still be pieces missing. Maybe that's why I've always loved maps. Not because they tell me where I've been, but because they remind me there's always more left to discover. So the next time you unfold a map, read a history book, or hear a story that's been passed down for generations. Ask yourself one simple question. Whose perspective am I looking at? Because every map tells the truth. Just never the whole truth. And that's the philosophy behind the Cartographer saga. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, fair winds, and I'll see you beyond the horizon.